Welcome to the Google Sites beginning tutorial. Today I'll be talking about how to create your own ePortfolio or website. So when you look here, I'm logged into my MSU account. So under your MSU account, you want to go to your Google Workspace icons and you want to select Google Sites. It is the blue icon here. And when you log on to the homepage, you'll be prompted to start a new site that's blank or use some of the templates offered here. So I want to show you something that I've made, and then we can kind of work backwards, starting from scratch as well, to show you how to build your Google site. So if we start blank, this is the homepage that we're prompted to. We're starting absolutely fresh. And the first place to begin is to title your website. For today's purposes, we will title it Google Site MSU 2023. It doesn't have to be in caps. It could be all lowercase, all caps, however you'd like it. From there, you want to publish it. And typically, I would recommend using the same address. And if it's taken or if it's forbidden, it will pop up and let you know. So maybe we will change it. So for now, we'll just leave it like this. Something I typically recommend would be to make it your name following what the website entails. So if it is your portfolio, you might put your name and then portfolio after it. So we'll publish. And that is step one of creating your Google site. After you publish, you can actually view it. So this function here leads you to what your website looks like to its viewers. Now, I'm going to bounce around and show you a website that I made as if I already had my own counseling private practice. So this is my homepage here, some of the services I offer, and up at the top, I have pages. So when we talk about building your Google site, we'll talk about all of the different parts that you need to create the site with. So starting with your homepage, the pages that you add, which are up here at the top, some sub pages that drop down into a menu of subcategories, and content blocks, which are placed within the pages. Here I have another page filled with images, some workshops, and I will dive into deeper of what each and every content block is on the page. Here we have a button, a title, an image. So we'll dive into that further and I can explain. I have a map, another button, and a YouTube video that was added and some social links. So if we go back to our Google site, we want to start building it. This is exactly what it looks like. So first step, name your website, publish it, secure it in place. This automatically gets saved to your drive. Here up at the top functions, you have the ability to copy the link and share it with people or share with others by selecting this button here. And if I click this, I can invite whoever is in my MSU network to view my website. So one thing to note here, anytime you upload something onto your website, you want that document that's in your site to also be shared with the person who needs to view it. So to clarify, I'll show you an example, but please just keep that in mind. It'll start to make sense when you build it and when you begin sharing it with others. So you basically work with your right toolbar. So the toolbar over here, you sort of work from left to right, starting with your theme, then your pages, then inserting content. So here we want to start with selecting our theme. I like to go with something a little more simple and minimalistic. I'm going to bounce back and show you that that's something that I used on my site. Just makes it look clean, modern, and that's just something that's a personal preference, but please feel free to use whatever options are here. Now, Google Sites is super user-friendly, especially because you're essentially creating a website without any coding or IT experience, but you are limited in certain creative options. So you have a handful of themes to choose from. They're all great. It just depends on what resonates with you. So for our purposes, I'm going to select simple. I'm going to change the color to this like dark charcoal gray. This will tie back into the other colors that'll be tied back into your website. Let's say, for instance, if you include a button, the button will also be this color. If you change it to pink, the button will also be pink. So just keep that in mind. Whatever theme you select and the color you select, other functions that you add of content will also be the color from your theme. Now, once we have our theme, we want to establish what our homepage is. So this is the homepage that you're directed to. It's right here. You start strong. You want to title it. So this is my Google site for 2023. Now here you can change the font. There's a ton of options. You can change the bolding. You can change different styles, italicize, underline. You have all these capabilities. The text color can also be changed. You can center it. You can move it to other sides of the page. It's whatever you prefer. If you want to delete it, you can remove it. There are other functions that help you adjust what the text looks like. This is a title, so you probably wouldn't be doing any paragraph spacing, but that option's available for you. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Now, here is a really great option where you can change the image of your homepage. I'm bouncing back to my website. I decided to take one image and make it mostly the cover of my website. So when you log on, you see my image, you see my title down here, and the name of my website up at the top. So for my website here, you can change the header type. So just to give you an idea of what I did, I made it the cover. So this covers most of your website. This is a large banner, regular size banner, or if you just want the title only on your website. It really all depends on who your audience is, what you personally prefer, and what message you're trying to get across. So for instance, if we just use the cover, we can leave it like that. And now we want to create something that's a little more unique, personal, so we can change the image. So if you select here, you can upload whatever images you have from your device. So I just have this eucalyptus plant image. I like it. I'm going to add it here, and that's what I want on my website. So one option you can use, you can have this sort of faded quality, or you can unfade it. It's just basically like a filter. Now, when you do something like that, you maybe want to work with the text a little bit differently. Maybe you want to change the positioning of it. It might be something you want to just move around. You could sort of play with where it goes. So Google Sites is kind of interesting because it has guided lines that you can work with. So you never actually create something that's like off center. But you kind of have to play around. I usually like the filter because it just makes it look a little more professional. So anytime you make a change, it is saved up here in your drive. But if you're ever unsure of, you've been working on something or you're placing something somewhere and you're not sure how it's going to look to someone who's viewing your website, this little icon up here, the preview button, you could always select preview and it just prompts you to exactly what your website would look like after each change you've made. It's a really helpful guide, and it's pretty accurate. You have different options at the bottom to see what it would look like on a laptop, on a tablet, and then on an iPhone or any other type of mobile device. So super cool. You exit out and you're right back where you started. So now that you've named your website, you've published it, you've created a title page, the homepage image has been established, you can now move into pages. So pages you start blank, this home here is your home page that you're currently on. So what you want to do to keep adding pages to get that banner bar like I had up here, where you include all the other content of your website, you want to click the plus sign here, new page, and you want to title it. So we could just make this page 1. And now it popped up right there. I'm going to add another page, page 2. Now, this is just for learning purposes. In case you had a project or any portfolio, something you might add would be, maybe it's a resume. And that page includes your resume. Or an about me section. Or maybe you have case studies. So really it's limitless. But let's say under resume or about me, we have the option of adding a subpage. Maybe we just want the about me page and we don't want to clutter too much up at the top, and we want to add some categories that really fall under the about me umbrella, which could include a resume as well. Or you can keep it separate, totally your preference. But if we hover over to the right side, there are 3 dots that you can click into that give you options, and one of them is to add a subpage. You see also here you can delete the page, you can duplicate it, you can also change something and make it the home page instead. I don't advise on doing that, but just so you know, it's an option. You can also hide it from navigation. So if we select that, now our viewer will not see it, but we won't lose the work that we did in case we wanted to pop that back up. So we'll show it. We'll go back to about me. We'll add a subpage and we'll make it education. So then maybe there you want to include where you went to college. And then now you see the little caret drop-down menu and you have your education page. What I want you to note is that every page that you make, it just duplicates the home page. So you'll see here, every single page now looks like the home page. So that's where you have to go in and edit the content again. So if you're in page number 1, you can edit everything just like you did in the home page. So I would change the image. You can upload something from your device. You can create something like this. Maybe you don't use this image, maybe use something else. Either way, totally your preference. And then now you have the new page and it looks different, it feels different, it's telling a different story. So if we're working with page number 1, we can go in and we can start inserting our content. So any page you go into, you can just do the same process. So if it's an about me section, maybe we'll change the header type to just a banner, and we're going to change the image again. Let's see if there's something that we have here. We like this one, and we'll throw that in there. And that's perfect. Maybe we don't want the filter. We want it to just show like that. Totally up to you. Maybe for here, I like the kind of shadow filter over it, and I'll keep it that way. Not sure how it looks to the viewer. Go back to preview, and there you have it. You can see exactly what things would look like. So we have our themes, we set up our homepage, we added all our homepage, we added like the bones of the website. Those are the most basic steps. Now you have your content, and hopefully you already have this. So if you have a resume, it should already be available for you to just add. Think of this as something that you just take all the work you've done, and this is now a compiled, concise, professional place where you have all of your work, like a portfolio. So you start blank, but content blocks are available here under the Insert tab, where they sort of guide you and prompt you into what you can select under them. You'll see there are 6 styles recommended here, totally up to you to use, but you can always just select individual buttons and placeholders and different social links that can just directly add the material that you want, and you can sort of move it around from there. So I placed a special specified content block, but don't feel like you're stuck with it. You can always remove it. You can move it around. The page can kind of go on forever, so you are not limited to how much you can add to one page. But be conscious. You don't want someone scrolling on one page for a very long time. Maybe you want to break it up into another page that they can access much more easily, that'll capture their attention and for them to see the material that you want them to see. So if you click the plus sign, this is where you can upload content from your device. You can select an image. You can upload directly from your Google Drive. You can pull a video from YouTube, something from Google Calendar if you're doing something like a scheduling appointment, if that's relevant to what you're showing, or a Google Map. So everything is compatible with Google in general. So just keep that in mind. So if I want to upload something from my drive, I can go here. I can go to my shared drives if I wanted to. That's where I knew where something was located. Let's say I want to showcase something that was a presentation that I've done. So I did a Canva presentation and I'm going to upload it here because I want someone to see this in the work that I've completed. Now, you can adjust visually how you want it to look. You can make the block bigger. You can add text underneath it. So presentation on Canva. You can, again, any text box, you can change the font, the size, whether it's bold, italicized, all that good stuff. If you don't want that at all, you don't have to have it. It's totally up to you. So you could delete this entire text box. So you just click when it gets that little grid, delete, not a problem. And you just have your one presentation there. So what does that look like? Let's preview it. Perfect. So something that would probably look aesthetically pleasing is if I was showing maybe presentations on this page, I would add another presentation to the right of it. Or I could add a text box that explains what this presentation is about. Totally up to you. But let's say we just want to add another presentation. We don't want the text box. I'm just going to delete it. We'll go back in and we'll upload from our drive. Go to shared drives. This is just my own personal preference. And now we have an ePortfolio one. So I want you to notice the difference here. The first one I uploaded was a PDF of a presentation, and the second one was actually a Google slide deck. So you're capable of doing either or. Just know that it's going to look a little different. So in Google Slides, it's going to come out like a presentation with arrows that go to the right. We're going to preview it. We're going to see here that when it's presented to the viewer, here they're going to have to scroll. Here they're going to have to click through it with the arrow key because of the Google slide format. Not a big deal. Doesn't affect anything. It's just what each one is capable of doing. So what's really cool here is you could just place placeholders and place anything you want to add. You can add a document. You can add an Excel file. All of these things are able to be added. But one thing to note is that anything you add, you want to upload it to your Google Drive. So hopefully you all know how to upload to your Google Drive. You would need to just create a new file upload and add it there. So anything that you have on your computer that maybe is not allowing you to upload, just go through your Google Drive and upload it. But if you also do this and you're showing this for a project to your professor, really, really important to note, please share that individual project with your professor because they won't be able to see it when you share your Google site because it's locked privately on your drive. So for instance, something like this, I am going to share it with my professor. So you go up to share, you share it with who you need to share it to. So you click who they are, share that with them. And that way, when they're on your website, this will pop up instead of saying you need to gain access. This is something you may stumble upon, but just keep this in mind. Whatever you upload from your drive, please share that individual project with the same person you need to share the website with, and they can see it. So something that's really cool, you can add YouTube videos. So I can just search a video on YouTube And this is exactly what I was looking for, and I can just drop it right in. Again, you can adjust the size. It's all up to you, your preference. You can add a calendar, so it can link exactly to the calendars that you have in Google. You can add a map, so if you need to show someone where something is located and it's relevant, you just drop in the map. There are social links you can add. So this is something where you would paste maybe your Instagram handle, your LinkedIn handle, Twitter handle, whatever you may want, but you also want to add an image to it. So I usually like to do the logo. This is something that I did on mine, where I uploaded the Instagram logo and my LinkedIn. And if you click my LinkedIn, you go directly to it because I added the link. So something like a button, I have a scheduling button. So if someone were to make an appointment with me, they're linked to my Calendly account and can schedule an appointment. So that's really neat, and I can show you how to do that. This is where you would go to the button function, and you click button, you type the name of the button and schedule, and the link to the website that you want. So I have the website open. This is where I want my viewer to go. Insert, and there you have it. You have a button, and you can move this wherever you'd like. You could change the size, whatever makes sense. If you wanted to add maybe an image underneath or text, you can do that, and you can change the size. If I just wanted another image, selecting an image, we'll just go right here. We'll just use that for now. There's an image. We're a little scattered around. This isn't something that's like a cohesive story, but it's just to let you know all the capabilities that you can do and what you could basically customize yourself. So in the button function, you click into it and there's an outline version or a text version. Filled is usually the most visually appealing one, in my opinion. But I want to talk about the theme again, because this is where something like a button that you add ties to the color of your theme. So because I selected that like dark gray and not the pink, it's going to be dark gray. But because I just went back and selected the pink, my button will be pink. So you can customize colors. That's definitely an option. So feel free to choose whatever you'd like. That's a nice feature. But other than that, it will need to be a color. You just have to pick which one it's going to be. So here you jump around. There are my pages. You can always go back to things. Another thing now that we're on pages, you can move pages just by dragging and dropping. So that's a nice feature as well. So we covered a lot so far. I think Google Sites really is improving on itself. There's some new features each time. But play around. You can add so much, and it's just, you could place it. You can just stick within the dimensions that they give you, so you don't have to be worried about things off center. It's really just a matter of outlining what your content is and where you want it to be. So pick your theme, categorize your pages, and start dropping the content in, and then start playing around with some of the features that make your website unique and personal to you. And you could start by with font, just by with text boxes, just by uploading images. You know, if you're not sure where to start, use the content blocks to guide you. Super easy. If we're on a page, we could just do something like this, and then we can have 4 images next to each other that we want to talk about something and write the text underneath. Really simple. I would look at other websites, get some inspiration. That's usually the best way to go about it. If you see something on a website that you like, how did they do it? Oh, they have bigger font here, some smaller font here describing what that means. They have images back to back talking about, without words, what this is. So for instance, this is the therapy space. Maybe you don't even need text, and the images just explain it all for you. You have some workshops that you want people to register for, throw in a button. Talk about, add an image, throw in what the workshop's about and how to register for it. If you have presentations, they can come in so many different formats. If it's a PDF, a Google slide, upload it directly from your drive. It'll all be here, and all of your work can be in one place in a very unison and personal place. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the ADP Center. We'd all love to help, and I hope you learned something new. Thank you.